morning, Freedom Team. Thank you guys for showing up here this morning. As always, we do this every Monday morning about 9 a.m. Mountain, 10 a.m. Central. And the last few months, I've really enjoyed this, just interviewing different people on eXp that are having success building teams. And that's why all of you are here, right? To continue to listen to what other people are doing. And I always like to say what I love about this is just grab little tidbits from each person, right? Matt may throw some things out that just correlate with your personality. You're like, oh my gosh, I like that. Let me implement that. So got a little smaller group. Hopefully we have more show up. We've been having about 30 to 40. Matt have been showing up
the last holiday, three day weekend.
I guess the realtors that can are taking a holiday going, heck, if I can take off today, I am.
Right.
But let's kick this thing off and let me kind of give a little bit of introduction for Matt. Has a huge background. This guy has had a ton of success. I'm going to let him elaborate, but let me touch on a few things to give you guys an introduction. But Matt has been happily married to his beautiful wife, Lexi Stewart, and they have 3 children. Loves Jesus. Love that, brother.
Amen.
The outdoors, food, travel, golf, and basketball. Still plays full court 3 days a week at 5 a.m. Has been
played this morning.
Did you? Good for you, brother. Been very blessed. They traveled over 25 countries. He's a born-again believer who has a personal and passionate relationship with Jesus Christ. Love it. A little bit of his real estate background. Excelled in the greater Sacramento real estate marketplace from the early age of 19. He has the distinguished level of broker. Both his parents have been real estate brokers for 40 plus years, with his mother becoming the #1 realtor in Placer County in the late 80s, early 90s. Matt was consistently at Masters Club volume level producer and in the top 5% of realtors in the greater Sacramento area, where there was over 12,000 realtors in that area. In addition to being part owner in 3 successful brokerages, Matt was the #1 real estate agent for multiple brokerages with over 2 decades of valuable experience, many hundreds of homes sold. Matt and his team focus on being the most professional and productive real estate offering in the area, being ahead of the game with creative target marketing that helps his customers sell homes faster and more money than the average real estate agent is one of Matt's driving forces. And guys, he has so much more. So I'm going to let him kind of elaborate. So let's start off. First of all, Matt, thank you, bro. We sincerely appreciate you're humbled that you're here. And guys, from a revenue share perspective, Matt has right now over 220 agents on the team, currently sitting at about 15 frontline qualified, has brought in, I think, around 50 agents. But anyway, starting to see success really take off. You get to about the 100 number. You guys don't let that intimidate you. Let me let these other folks in. Just know this is a process, and I can't wait to hear what Matt's doing, not only to build where he's at, but what he's doing to continue going forward. So Matt, let's start off, man. Elaborate. You had a strong background out there, but anything you think that everybody could relate with your real estate background. But what I'd love to know is you elaborate a little bit about if you want to elaborate any more on your personal background, but take us along that journey up to the point before you were invited to look at eXp. And once we get there, what was it that you first saw that brought you over here?
Thanks for having me. It's really an honor, a treat whenever an alpha, reaches down to the betas and says, hey, I want you to come speak to my group. It's like, really? That's wow. I'm flattered and humbled. Anyway, so a little background in regards to the real estate side. I grew up hating this business. So just to kind of put that out there, swore I'd never get into it. My parents were brokers for 49 years. My mom was the #1 selling agent in multiple counties in the late 80s, early 90s, right? When I'm, in those early teenage years in sports and mom's not there. I'm looking up in the stands and she's got to present an offer or, go to a closing table or whatever it is. And this was back, she did 138 transactions, no team, just her and a part-time assistant, which I'm still like, how did you do that? Because there was no digital signature, no cell phone, no smartphones, texting, all this stuff. It was pick up the phone and call. Email was just coming out, and fax machine was the big breakthrough. And, it was basically, are you guys still awake? They countered your counter, and I can swing by tonight. We get this deal done, and, press hard. There's 3 copies. And then the next call was, hey, son, sorry, gosh, they got a counter. We're going to get this deal done tonight. You're going to have to cook your own dinner. And I'm like, real estate. I hate this, Yeah. And so I held out till I took the test at 19, a month after turned 20, and was off and running, so to speak. Started at Coldwell Banker, got recruited over to Keller Williams, a little paint company that nobody had heard of. This was 24 years ago. In my market, I was the 23rd agent in all of Northern California, big state. 23rd agent to be at Keller what, is that a paint company? I kid you not, I'd call expireds and they'd say, is that like Sherwin-Williams, Kelly Moore? What is that, right? And I said, no, it'll be a household name. It's out of Texas. You give it 2 years. And so my partners and I, over a number of years, built 10 offices from scratch to over 2,000 agents. Now, I had a very small part in that. I mean, it sounds great. I was blessed to be invited to be part owner in 3 of them. And I was never a team leader. I was simply we got Samantha. We got to mute her as well. Anyway, so I was never a team leader. I was always a producing realtor. I was never like super, super high producing realtor, but I was never low. I'd average 2, 3, 4 deals a month, something like that. And yeah, I just plugged away. I just loved people, and I would, reach out to those that I closed deals with, and I'd talk to them about the opportunity of KW at the time. Now, fast forward, I was there for 10 years. I was recruiter of the year out of the most profitable office in the world. That just means non-team leader. I was an agent that was, recruited the most, and so on. And the reason for that is, and here's, I'm leading to why I saw eXp so quickly, and a lot of people don't, is I left Coldwell Banker because of 3 reasons. And I think eXp is very similar. The first reason was that Coldwell Banker was always talking about, we're the brand. It's a privilege to be at Big Blue, and we do all this national advertising and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I don't think I've seen anything come as a result of this national advertising of Coldwell Banker. I don't think it's made, a bit of difference in my real estate business. The second thing was the aspect of having a cap. At the time, 24 years ago, that was cutting edge. Nobody, a cap. Oh, yeah, that's where you stop paying the broker. Like, oh, that makes sense. And then the third thing was that you could brand yourself. That was the first thing. And then the third thing was profit sharing. Hey, if you help spread the word, and our office is profitable after all the bills are paid and there's some money left over, we'll share some of it with you. And I went, well, shoot, that's more than I'm getting at Coldwell Banker. It makes sense. So I made the move against my parents' counsel. They said, oh my gosh, don't do it. I've never heard of Keller. What is it? So a year later, I brought them over to Keller Williams. But fast forward now, I look at eXp. I almost said no to eXp because being the recruiter of the year and blah, 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 most profitable office, you would think profit sharing would be pretty good. My best year in 10 years, my best year of profit sharing was $19,700 for the year. And, I'm not going to turn away an extra 20 grand, but it's not going to get me off the transactional treadmill. I'm still only as good as my last sale, and so on and so forth. So when I saw eXp, I said, and it was my buddies from KW, that we ran together and had the success there. I said, guys, I've been there, done that. I'm going to focus on some other things to build up, residual or passive income type thing. And they said, Matt, if you're judging this based off your KW experience, what you did at KW, they got you $20,000 a year. If you do the exact same thing that you in eXp, it won't be $20,000 a year. It'll be $20,000 to $30,000 a month. And right. And so I went, oh, well, that would move the needle. That would give me some freedom and some choices to say, I don't know that I want to run on this transactional treadmill forever, because I saw my mom do it for so long. And I'm like, man, she's only as good as her last sale. She's tired, all this stuff. I'm like, what is the exit strategy? Like, real estate's great, but you do it long enough, you go, gosh, I never really looked at this as how do I get out of real estate? What is my exit strategy? Yeah. And here's the challenge. And I'll, put this out to most of you on here. If you're producing realtors, you get into real estate and you start making these $15,000, $20,000, $30,000 checks. And then you go, wow, my income's great. So you start raising your lifestyle. I need a better car. I need some better clothes. I need to eat better, go out more because I work hard. I deserve it. I need to go on better vacations. And so we're spending, I've been doing this 28 years, by the way, I'm 48. So, and then all of a sudden the market changes, their production goes down, but their spending's here. And they're like, oh, crud, this sucks. I'm super stressed, right? And real estate's already a stressful thing. So, they don't have margin in their life. And so thankfully, thank God that when I married my wife, we were both second marriages. I was coming in with I think $80,000+ of debt. My wife had some tax debt from her previous husband and so on. So we had over $100,000 of debt. And she was broke, and I was broke. I mean, I don't have the time to go into the whole backstory, but the Lord just cut me clean, everything but my health. And I couldn't even rent a room from a guy. The Lord told him, hey, you need to offer Matt a room in your house, a 70-year-old guy, sweetheart of a man, while I was getting back on my feet. And then my wife was on food stamps and, was trying to get a job, raise 3 kids in a rental. And here we are coming together. This is match made in heaven. And we had $100,000 in debt. And so I said, babe, I am so sick and tired of being a slave to the lender and being in debt. I want to get debt free and I want to control our money rather than money or lack thereof it control us. And so she kind of fought it kicking and screaming, going to the first Dave Ramsey Financial Peace University. And then by the second meeting, it's a 9-week course. We paid off $100,000 of debt our first year of marriage. We were super focused, laser beam focused, as he says, gazelle intense. And that changed the game. We got into eXp. I said, and here's something that you guys are going to have to probably make a decision on. Is if you are in full-time production, it is difficult, not impossible, but difficult to build a revenue share organization being in full-time production. You got to create margin in your life. You got to create a little space where you can at least carve out maybe 20% of your time and do 80% of production and 20% of rev share in year 1 and get it off the ground a little bit and just work like a son of a gun in that 20%. And then, year 2, maybe it's 70-30 or 60-40, and then 60-40 the other way, and then 80-20. And all of a sudden you got a lifestyle. Because as realtors, we don't really have great lifestyle as highly productive realtors because you don't have the time. You may make great money and have all the nice things, but the reality is you're, one sickness, one car accident, whatever away, and you're only as good as your last sale. And then you're done. You're like, oh, shoot. If money doesn't come in for 3 to 5 to 6 months, most realtors are toast, right?
Yeah.
Whereas if you got a steady income like revenue share coming in, even if it was 3 to 4 to 5,000 a month, that is a game changer for most all realtors because you can pay your mortgage, you can pay your car payments. You should not have car debt, by the way. You should get rid of that. But anyway, if you do, you probably do. Pay it off. All right. So there you go. Sorry, probably longer than I should have.
No, first of all, that's good because I'd imagine most of the agents on here are in production. So I love how you kind of laid that out. If that's the ratio 80-20, everybody could make that happen. You really could, right? You just got to decide. So let's dig a little deeper. So when you first saw eXp, you came over when? What was the date?
Basically, what was it? December of 19. So right before COVID.
Okay.
So I've been here a little over 4 years.
And how were you approached?
Oh, it was by my buddies. Yeah, anyway, I won't go into all that. But it was by my buddies that we built offices together and ran together at Keller Williams. So Tom Daves was the #1 realtor in the world for Keller Williams, 7 years. That's never been done in KW history. And then his sponsor is a guy named Don Yoakum, who built 10 offices from scratch to over 2,000 agents. He was the one really pushing all that. And Tom and I kind of were hanging on his coattails. And so he and Tom are best friends. And he told Tom, he goes, hey, #1 agent in the world for KW, goes, hey, you're leaving KW. We're going to eXp. He's like, I never heard of eXp. What's eXp? But he trusts Don because Don's kind of like not the evil genius, but like this mastermind and just super strategic. And so he trusts Don. He goes, okay, we're going. And then they reached out to me. I initially said, no, I'm not sure. I've kind of been there, done that, like I said. And finally, I stayed in the game to stay curious and learn. And they followed up. And I went, well, yeah, I'd be foolish not to do this. I was at Realty World at the time. I get no equity ownership, nor would I want it. A little nothing company of like 14 agents. And then, no residual reoccurring income. So I'm like, yeah, why wouldn't I go to eXp? So I signed myself up on a Saturday. And Tom called me on Monday. He goes, okay, let's get you all signed up. I'm like, no, I already did it. And it freaked him out because he thought maybe I joined with someone else. He's like, you did? I go, don't worry, bro. I put you down as my sponsor. I'm all good. I hooked up my bank accounts. Like, we're dialing. Let's run. He's like, okay. So I'm not the norm.
So you made the move over. So you were in production at that time, right?
Yeah.
So walk us through so some of these folks right now that are on here might just be kicking over the first few dominoes. Some may have a handful of agents, some may have none. What did you do to initially get started when you talked about that 80-20 ratio? Did you start that right out of the gate?
Yeah, I actually did more than an 80-20 ratio. I wanted to be out of production because I saw the end game with my parents for 40 something years, right? And you got to own a lot of rental properties to replace a 200,000, 300,000 or more income. I mean, that's a lot of after-tax earned income you're putting as a down payment to maybe get 3, 4, 5, even if you got 1,000 a month per rental, right? To have anything significant, you got to have 10, 15 rentals. And you're putting a lot of money down. I mean, it's millions and millions and millions of dollars of real estate. So I'm like, okay, wait a minute. I don't have any out-of-pocket expense other than $149. I'm like, okay, that's a no-brainer. I could literally, it's just my time and energy. And so what I basically did, and what everybody here should do, even if you've been in for 4 or 5 years, is just pretend like you're starting new. You need to make your list. Like, that's the most important thing from the beginning. Michael Reese and Jay Kinder, we were just on Brent's 1% Club, and they asked all the alphas, like, if you were to start over, looking back, if you could do it over again, what would you change? And they said, really, the only thing that I would change is we would build a much stronger, better list, bigger, longer, and go through them faster. Just looking for those that want to run rather than trying to convince people, right? And you can circle back around when they're ready. So that would be the thing, is you need to make your list. And a list is not like, the 4 or 5 people that initially pop in your mind. Because what typically happens is, oh, I got Susie. She's my best friend in real estate. She'll absolutely come. And then, I got Joe and Larry and Fred. And, so they start going through these people. And Susie's like, hey, sorry, I can't do it. I'm having relationship issues. It's just not a good time. I'm overwhelmed. Yeah. Like, oh, okay. All right. Well, I'll go to Fred. And, and then Fred's like, oh man, sorry. I love my broker. I love that. And what? You're not, no, I don't, not a good time. And then, third one says no, fourth one says no. And then eventually you're calling your mom or your dad to, if they're licensed, or maybe, hey, could you get your license? Like, you know what I mean? It's like, it doesn't work. And so what you need to do is have a goal of have a list of at least 100 names. Mm-hmm. Now, some of you go, oh my gosh, 100 names. I don't know 100 realtors. Yes, you do. Geez Louise, if you're not living under a rock, yeah, you're closing deals and you've been doing it for 3, 4, 5, 7, 9 years. Go back your past sales and pull up all those realtors you've done past sales with. When you're going to the board of realtors networking meetings, or if you're doing any of the tours, or if you're going to masterminds or training events or Tom Ferry events and, all these different things, you're running into people. You may not know their name, but you could put it down on paper like, oh, the gal who's, great smile, curly red hair, and I think she's from Denver or something. And then you'll figure out what her name and get her contact and all that, but just put her down so you don't forget her in your mind. And so it needs to be written down on paper, because that's your working list. And it's going to give you so much more confidence and so much more power when you make the calls, because you get to know you're much more bulletproof when you got 99 others that you're going to reach out to versus 4. Yeah. You're like, oh gosh, right? So that really is the key. You want to start in your warm market. Your warm market are those that know you, they like you, trust you, you've closed deals with them, all that stuff. That's your warm market. It's going to allow you to build some culture and community because you guys are in the same geographic area. Mm-hmm. So, you'll do, maybe once a month or once every other week, movie nights, have them over, and, Friday nights or whatever, you have barbecue on the weekend, whatever it is that you can create culture and community, you can do that in your warm market. And you start to create this momentum, and and you teach them to do the same, build your list and so on. Then the second thing, and this gets lost. A lot of people, they go, well, what are your scripts? They always default to like, if I had the script, man, I would have a huge organization. And the reality is, I'm not a big script guy. I think scripts are very effective and they work, but most people don't work them properly, meaning they don't internalize them where they no longer sound like a script. It should get to a point so much that it's not a script, it just is part of you and it flows. So on one hand, I say I don't really use scripts, but if I'm honest and look back, it's like, yeah, I do have some things that I default that come out that probably were a script that I made up at some point. But the key to the second aspect of how is knowing your 30-second story. All right. Like your elevator pitch or whatever. And it's not really a pitch. It's more the aspect of when somebody says, well, what do? You know the direction that you're going. You can tell your story and you're not EXPing on them. Okay. So here would be
what's your elevator pitch?
Hey, so I'd call, let's say I called Sean out of the blue and I'm like, hey, Sean, or we could be in the elevator, whatever. It's like, I'm going to ask them about them. And eventually, if I'm in the elevator, I'm going to ask them about them. Eventually, they're going to say, well, what do you do? And I go, hey, thanks for asking, Sean. It's interesting. I've been in real estate about 28 years. I'm a broker. My parents have been brokers for 49 years. Started my career at various brokerages, Coldwell Banker, Keller Williams, where I was part owner in 3 offices and recruiter of the year and, and so on, and had a good run. And, but not too long ago, my partners and I actually sold out and divested of all of our ownership and made the move over to a company called eXp. I'm sure you've probably heard of eXp at this stage, right? And he goes, oh yeah, I've heard of eXp. I go, yeah, no, we were, if he gives me a negative kind of, oh yeah, I heard of eXp. Right. In his tonality, I go, yeah, hey, you know what's funny? We were the same way as you. Actually, my partner was the #1 realtor in the world 7 times for Keller Williams. You might imagine he's not looking at moving companies. He's treated pretty well. But you know what? Someone challenged us to put our business hat on and put our ego aside and really take a serious look at this, take a deep dive, because it would be really foolish, is what he told us, to say no to something that you're ignorant about. It was pretty tough words. We kind of knew him and we respected it. Said, okay, we'll take a look at it. And honestly, once we saw it, we couldn't unsee it. We made the move and it's been absolutely life-changing. And, you're talking to someone 28 years in the business. So I think I have a little bit of shred of credibility in that regard. But I'm curious, Sean, have you ever done a deep dive yourself regarding the eXp model, or has it been more conversational?
Yeah, to be honest, I've had a couple conversations, but yeah, I've never taken a deep dive. Like you said, I'll be honest, I'm more than content with kind of where I'm at.
Yeah, totally.
I've seen a lot of folks go that way. And I'll be honest, I've never taken a deep dive, just been so, head down doing what we do.
I get it. Hey, I always tell people that's the transactional treadmill, right? We're only as good as our last sale and we got to keep that thing. We just got to go. And we were no different, by the way. But someone kind of stopped me in my tracks and said, well, what's your exit strategy? My parents were brokers for 49 years. She was the #1 realtor in multiple counties. And that was something I always looked at. I'm like, well, that's great. But what if you got sick, or what if you got in a car accident and you couldn't produce anymore? How would what's your exit strategy? Yeah. And what I realized with eXp, because they give you ownership in a publicly traded debt-free company, they're sitting on $100+ million at any given time. And then the ability to get rewarded for simply spreading the word of a better real estate model, and get rewarded from the company's money, not from the agents, almost like a referral fee. It just made a lot of sense. I'm looking at what I have done, at Coldwell Banker and Keller Williams and Realty World. And did I have any equity ownership? Did I have a reoccurring residual type income? Nope. All I had was, my last sale, quite frankly. And I kind of looked at it, Sean, and I went, it's really interesting. We tell our clients, us that are producing realtors, we tell our clients that are renters, hey, you'll never build wealth renting. You have to become a homeowner and pay your own mortgage and build equity. Don't pay someone else's mortgage, right? Yeah. Don't we say that all the time, Sean?
Oh, yeah.
And he'll go, yeah, absolutely. I go, here's what's really interesting. And I never realized this until it was brought to my attention. Realtors are the exact same way. We hang our license at the brokerage and we are a renter at the brokerage. We get no equity, right? There's no reoccurring residual income. We're basically paying off our sweat of our brow and what we put on our backs, and we pay for our own marketing and build our own brand. And we're doing all this and the broker overrides it. And we're paying and building the broker's retirement plan. Not my own. And I went, oh my gosh, that's exactly what we're doing. we're like a renter, our client, that we just demonstrably say, hey, you can't build wealth that way. We got to get you in a home. But then a realtor goes, oh, I love my broker. I love my broker. I guess you love them so much that you're going to fund their retirement before your own.
That's
right?
good. Yeah.
Right. So I went, okay, well, why would I not change jerseys? It's not like I'm doing something different. I'm still working with buyers and sellers. Why would that change? I'm still pushing the Matthew Stewart real estate team. That's not going to change. But now I get these added benefits. It's kind of like, we don't get in our car and drive down to the movie store and go pick out our DVDs.
Yeah.
Everybody go, why would you do that? We stopped doing that a decade ago or whatever it is. Yeah, we do Netflix. Why wouldn't this industry change?
Yeah. Yeah. That's good. So the dialogue you're having with me, I'm assuming, and guys, we can open up this for Q&A. Whether we stay there at the beginning or whether we fast forward to what you're doing today. So when you got started at the very beginning, did you just start with your warm market, just started making phone calls, just having a dialogue? And what did some of that sound like? Has it changed a lot over the few years you've been here and how you approach agents?
Not too much. You start warm market. I'll tell you, my warm market was pretty small because I had left the industry for about 4 years and built a network marketing business that I'd done real estate my whole life. Basically, I was in diapers in real estate because my parents 49 years and I'm 48. So I was kind of burned out. I took a break from 2012 to 2016 and built a network marketing opportunity. Took me across America, over into Africa and all that stuff. But, I came back into real estate. It was probably when that cockroach crawled over my leg in Nigeria, freaked me out in the middle of the night. And I'm like, what am I doing? I made more money in real estate and I could sleep in my own bed. So I went back into real estate, got my broker's license, saw eXp, and I'm like, oh, we're doing this. Like, I'm not going back, So my warm market was small because I'd been gone for about 4 years coming out of the pandemic. And then on top of that, Brent Gove was in my real estate office. Tom Dave's number one agent in the world was in my real estate office, and they were before me, Brent, by probably 3.5 years. So there was a lot of people that I ran with them that were already, they're like, oh, I already talked to Brent. I already talked to Don or Tom.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay. Very similar when I got my license and I worked real estate in cool California, where my mom was the beast realtor up there. Anytime I'd try to get a listing, they're like, oh yeah, we'll give you guys a call. And I'm like, you guys, because I did my own business separate.
Yeah.
And they go, yeah, well, you're with your mom, right? I go, no, I have my own business separate. And they go, oh no, we'll call your mom. I'm like, oh, this isn't working. So I had to move off the hill down into Roseville, about 45 minutes away. And, and I thought, that's what I'm going to have to do with eXp. I'm going to have to go outside my warm market of Sacramento. And, so it's been harder, I think, because, now I'm calling people completely out of the blue, got to build trust. Hey, how are you going to support me in my real estate business in Missouri when you're in Sacramento, California?
Yeah.
So, you get those type of questions and so on. So, but I think over time, it's going to really leverage itself and pay out. I got 30 agents in 30 states and 4 countries now.
Yeah. So let's do this, you guys, because I can sit and ask him questions. Obviously, everybody's here for a reason. Some of you come every week. What is a pressing question? Kind of knowing his background. That's very interesting. No, I didn't know anything about that. So your warm market was a lot of the same with Brent and those guys. So you had to find yourself going, oh my gosh, I got to go reach out to a lot of agents I've never done business with. So let's pause. You guys, questions right up to this point right now. Any question to Matt as in, okay, well then what are you doing if you're making cold calls? Or let's go back. Is there anything at all? Anybody got questions at all? You want me just to keep firing away?
Or I could teach on the 5 steps. We've gone over step 2 of 5, but anyway, yeah. Anybody got any questions?
Yeah, thanks, Matthew.
Yeah.
How did you build the new list of people in the Roseville area, since they were pretty much cold to you?
Yeah, so outside Roseville is in Sacramento, so I went out there like other states and what have you, or Southern California. So what I did a couple things in the beginning. What is it? Ideal Estate. There was an Ideal Estate that I'd get these emails. I'm like, what is this? And so I signed up my profile because I was getting back into real estate, and I just thought I'll just put my profile out on everything, homes.com, realtor.com, and just to get, SEO and all that stuff. And I kept getting these Ideal Estate. And so once I got into eXp, I'm like, you know what? Why wouldn't I call these people? Like, I'm getting emails saying that they're reaching out to me and they want to network. The reality was Ideal Estate was doing it on behalf of either one of us. And neither agent had any idea was sending out these emails, because I would call them and they're like, oh, what? No, I didn't send you an email. I go, and so then I just developed a script, if you will. That was just my talking point. I'm like, hey, Sean, hey, it's Matthew Stewart. I wanted to thank you so much for reaching out to me and shooting me the email and wanting to connect. And they're like, what? And I go, yeah, I got your email today. And it looks like you're out in, Denver, Colorado, and you're quite a producer. And yeah, I think that's really a smart, I'm edifying. I'm like, I think that's just really, really smart of you to reach out beyond your market and shoot an email to connect with a fellow top producer. So then I edify myself, third party, right? And he's like, oh, I don't think I sent you an email. I go, are you serious? Do you think, yeah, it's from Ideal Estate. Oh, do you think that they actually sent it on your behalf? And that's pretty brilliant, don't you think, Sean? Now we're buddy alongside. Now we're talking about Ideal Estate and how they did this little crafty thing. Yeah. Now I've got rapport. I go, oh my gosh. Well, hey, since they did it, let's go ahead. I called you. I mean, I thought it was you reaching out, but let's go ahead and talk about it. Tell me a little bit about your business. How long you been doing it? Da 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 da. Okay. Now, right. And then we're off and running. No scripting. Just, if you rely too heavy on scripts, you won't listen. Yeah. You will only listen to respond with the next trigger point of script. And that's a mistake, because people feel it. It's far better that people feel you truly engaged in listening. Yeah. And so that's why I don't push scripts much.
It's funny you say that, Matt, because when we first started doing these interviews, I got to admit, I was nervous, right? Talking to some of the big alphas, and I'm busy trying to follow script and doing exactly what you said. I'm thinking of the next question. And I'm not listening now. I just threw all that stuff away about 3 months ago, went, man, let me get to know Matt. What are you doing? How are you doing this? And there's no nervousness. I am truly wanting to know, what have you done, man? How did you get a few hundred agents? I'd imagine everybody here, but like a couple hundred agents on your team, right? Well, this is for you. Let's keep asking questions. If you don't have any more questions right now, we'll have him keep going through kind of the 5 steps that he does. But any other questions at the point we're at now?
I have a question.
Melvin.
Yeah, Melvin.
Yes. Thanks for sharing, Matt. My question is, you talked about recruiting that agent in Missouri, your analogy. How do you build in other states? You start off with a single person, but how do you build that person to a group?
Yeah, good question. So it first started out, I think, Ideal Estate, because I was getting them from all states, right? These emails. So then I started utilizing it and so on. And then once you get one person in an area that you kind of want to build, and I happen to have a list. I don't even remember where I got it, but it was St. Louis area. And I said, I don't know any real leaders in St. Louis. This was 3 years ago. I'm like, I'm just going to start calling there. And so I started calling and went through, got a lot of no's. I don't know you. Who are you? But, I got through, and I got one gal, Brenda Suter, who had done 70 plus deals her third year in real estate. And she was at a brokerage that she kind of liked, and gave me hey, I like my brokerage. And I go, no, I get it. I understand. I was the same way. Feel, felt, found. Right. Mm-hmm. And then I just got her to hang on to listen and learn and so on. And she just said, yeah, I don't have a retirement. I don't have stock ownership, all these things. And she ended up making the decision. She was one of the leaders to say, I'm going to make the move. And I said, look, Brenda, here's the reality. If it doesn't work out like I say it is, you can always move back. Yep. And you'll probably get a better deal going back. She's like, I don't trust me. I've been doing this a long time. You probably will. And she's like, well, that's true. And I said, but what if you never do it? And it turns out that it actually was really true. How would you feel about that? She's like, yeah, that's true. I go, so come on, let's do it. So then once I got one, now I could name drop. I'm building a story. Then I got a gal named Trish Wolf, who had a production team of 10, and she was the number 2 agent at Worth Clark. And we talked about no retirement, and we talked about the transactional treadmill, and, we talked about building equity at eXp and all these different things. And she's working hard. And the thing that got her was I understood building and running a production team, because I'd built one to 7. And I knew that you're basically running a little brokerage within a brokerage, you're wearing all the hats, you're spinning all the plates, you're team mom, you're planning for team meetings every week and you got to bring value, you're paying for leads, you're giving up leads that you could have converted better than the team members on your team, but you got to give them value to keep them because you don't want to lose them. And then all of a sudden you're losing the lead. They don't close them. So you paid for the lead and now you paid for the lead because they couldn't even convert them. So you paid twice, right? It's like, oh, I could have converted that one. That's 12 grand I just lost. You know what I mean? So like, and then you pour into them for a year and then they leave in a year or 8 months or 14 months because they're like, yeah, I got everything I need from you, Sean. Thanks so much. I don't want to pay you 50% anymore. I'm going to go out on my own. I'll make more money. Yep. And you can't blame them. I mean, I would do the same thing because I'm feeding a family and all that. So then, you're pouring into people and then they leave. And now you got to get a new one. And now you're pouring into them for 8 months, 12 months, 14, and then they leave. And she's like, I was reading her mail. She's like, oh my gosh. She was silent. She just, and when they're silent, they're listening. You're sinking in. Right. And she's like, wow. And I go, I get it. Can I show you a different way? At eXp, if you build a team, production team, and one of those agents leaves, which they should, after a year, you've done a good job. In the old model, right? Old fashioned model, you don't get anything other than you gain a competitor that knows all your secret sauce. She's like, you're right. I go, I know. But at eXp, you gain an ally because now they're in your revenue share. They're no longer on your production team, but they're in your revenue share organization. And now you want to coach and pour into them to build a production team like you did. Right. Now you're getting overrides and so on. And you're getting stock and these sort of things. She's like, oh my gosh. I go, yeah, it's changing the industry. So then, and I name drop Brenda Suter. So now I got Trish Wolf and Brenda Suter. Then I'm really only focused on those doing 25 deals or more. Mm-hmm. I don't deal with new agents, complete waste of time. If you're a new agent on here, I love you. You're a wonderful person, but you're not my avatar because, in a room of 100 new agents, after 2 years, I think there's only about 6 maybe still left standing. Maybe in this market, it's pretty brutal. So it may be less, right? 3 years, I think it's only 3. So I would rather
you draw the line at 25 transactions. So
I want icon level producers. I think it's financial malpractice for someone doing 25 units or more to not be at eXp. It's financial malpractice to their family.
Yeah.
And I tell them that. I go, look, here's the deal. Melvin, you're doing 32 deals a year. You're running and gunning on that transactional treadmill. You're only as good as your last sale. Melvin, you've been doing this for 7 years at your I love my brokerage. How much equity have you earned? How much ownership have they awarded you for being the top producer in your office for the last 7 years?
Silence.
Nothing. They, maybe they took you out to dinner or got you a lunch or a Starbucks gift card or something. But the reality is in those 7 years of your loyalty, you've been funding your broker's retirement and not your own. And the reality is if you just simply change jerseys, I mean, it's not a big deal. Happens in sports and all that all the time. And you're still putting the basketball in a hoop. You're still hitting the baseball coming at you. You're just in a different jersey. You're still working with buyers and sellers. You're still, pushing your logo and your brand at eXp, right? So nothing really changes in your world, even in your, hey, I'll give you a secret. Melvin, your customers will be none the wiser. They don't give a rip if you're with Century 21 or eXp or Remax or eXp. They half the time they don't remember what brokerage you're at. They just want to know, are you still selling real estate, Melvin? Can you get over here and help me? I got to sell my mom's house. We're putting her in a care home. Could you help us? Am I right? Yes or yes?
That's it.
Absolutely 100% of the time. So, let's get over this whole thing that, oh, my brand and this and blah, blah, blah. It's all garbage. It's either ignorance on their part because they're a newer agent or they're just not being truthful. So, don't be afraid to kind of call it out in a loving way, but you have to have built rapport in the beginning, right? And feel, felt, found, and so on. And you got to speak their language. And look, some of you haven't built a production team. So you're like, I couldn't talk to Trish because I don't know all that. That's not true. You could literally listen and learn and regurgitate from those that have built teams of what I just told you. Listen to this recording 10, 12, 15 times, and you'll get all the pain points of production team. And you could say, you know what? I have a couple business partners, they've built production teams, and this is what they've shared with me. And that's actually why I haven't built a production team. But let me throw this out to you, Sean. Is this pretty accurate? Like, they said that they train their competition. What does that mean? Well, you train them up for a year and they leave you, and they got all your, and you go into all that.
Yeah.
So you can tell the story. And that's why the number 2 of the 5 steps is so important. It's your 30-second story. So better your 30-second story versus scripting. Okay. So if you can craft and weave stories, even if they're not your own, but you can latch on to Matthew's or Sean's or Jacob's or Brenda Lee's stories, right? You can say, one of my business partners has shared this with me. One of my business partners has done this. And this is what she learned. This is what Amy Long learned, right? It doesn't matter to your prospect. They don't know Amy Long or Kate or Veronica, but they know the story. They retain the story. People remember stories. They don't remember figures and facts.
Yeah, so true.
They remember how they felt. They're like, oh my gosh, I have been busting my tail trying to keep this production team, because I figured that was the next step in my progression. I was a standalone realtor. Now I'm a top producer. I'm working my butt off, working weekends, vacations. I'm at the pool with my laptop and the kids. Mom, come play. I'll be there in a minute. Here, got to put this offer in. And okay, well, what's next? I need some leverage. So what's the leverage? Listings is 1. 2 is I need some help. I need some buyers agents so I can go out of town so they can show my listings, right? Yep. So then that's the next progression, is building a production team. But then they realize, oh my gosh, I might be working a little harder. It's just different. I'm giving up production. I was doing 40 deals a year. Now I'm doing 25. But I'm hopefully making up for the difference in these other agents that I'm training and pouring into and giving leads to and all this, so that I could hopefully have a vacation and not really think about real estate, which isn't true. You're still thinking real estate on vacation, right? So anyway, hopefully that was a good answer to your question or so on. Anybody else have any questions?
Hey, I have one. Matthew, this is good stuff. How's it going?
Good, man.
This is great. So you've got a icon, a potential icon, let's say out in another state. So how do you get them acclimated into the eXp system, stickability, things of that nature, getting as far as training, development? Are you partnering them with some other eXp agents, or are you working with them directly as well?
Yeah, good question. You really need to know your success partners. I'd never say upline, although I probably could in this closed setting, just so you understand. But your success partners are above you and your success partners are below you. I don't say downline because I don't believe anybody's down to me, right? Mm-hmm. So it's my success partners above me, my success partners below me. So you need to reach out and understand the stories of your success partners, the 7 people above you. They have a financial vested interest in your success, and they have amazing stories, okay? All of them. And they all have different skills and capabilities and so on. And you need to lean in and leverage those 7 in regards to helping you support some of these icons and production team leaders and indie brokerages and so on. What I realized early on, I didn't want it to be me as the one that is the selling point of them coming over, because basically it's another job. And I don't want that. I don't want to trade time for money. That's what we do in real estate. And if you do real estate coaching, same thing. You're trading time for money. It's another job. You just could do it around the pool in Bali or something, but you're still tied trading time for money. And so when you bring on a big, let's say an icon level producer, there's not really too much training, I feel, that needs to be done because they're already doing high level production. Mm-hmm. I would plug them into and do a welcome introduction to my success team, like my sponsor, Tom Daves, who built a team, 7-time #1 in the world. Don Yoakum built 10 offices. Randy Bird, professional coach with, with Tom Ferry for just under 5 years. Brent Gove, #1 influencer in eXp. So, and then I would really make sure in the onboarding that they understand all the tools and systems and things available to them that eXp has provided. I want to get them into the eXp environment and culture, not the Matthew Stewart. I got to be the one that's showing up all the time. Right.
Got it. Yeah.
The more I can get them plugged into eXp and it's my company, meaning them, it's not as much, I need Matthew Stewart. It's like, hey, this is my company. And now they're going to be beating the drum from the mountaintops. Like, eXp's changed my life. Well, how'd you hear about it? Well, it was my sponsor, my friend, Matthew Stewart. He's amazing. But, you know, like, let me tell you all about eXp and show you things.
Yeah. Good. Awesome. Thanks.
When you get a big influencer like that, and I say an icon is, you really want to focus on getting at least 2 or 3 more right in that same geographic area. So I would hunker down and really start focusing. Now, I'm not saying you put them underneath them. I'm saying you personally sponsor them and get 3 or 4 and really create from the beginning that it is a culture that, even though they're what we say cross line or side by side, and they probably know a lot of the same realtors and all that stuff, it goes far better for them and will grow faster if they will support each other in their recruiting and so on, and build a culture and community there of support and trust. So if you have a lunch and learn and you see somebody you know, but you didn't invite them to the lunch and learn, find out who invited them and edify that person who invited them to the prospect.
Mm-hmm.
So I know Sally sells a lot, and Sally shows up and I'm like, shoot, I was scared to call her. Doggone it. And she's showing up, you know, having her sandwich and learning eXp. At the end of the meeting, I'm going to go up and I'm going to go, Sally, oh my gosh, so amazing that you came. What did you like most about what you saw? Who invited you here today? Oh, DC did. Oh, DC is amazing. Like, he's killing it over here. I'm so, gosh, if it wasn't me, DC would be the guy. I'm so glad that he invited you. And I'm so glad that you saw the information. That's the kind of culture that we want to, you know, have.
Yeah, that's awesome. Great. Awesome. Other questions, guys? This is good. You know what? I'm shocked. We've had some people that dropped off. I know people got to go do stuff, but it's been some good nuggets, Matt. Some really, really good nuggets. Yeah, some good verbiage. And like you said, go back and listen to somewhere around that 10 to 20 minute mark. Man, he was dropping some really good nuggets and stuff I haven't heard, Matt. So thank you, bro. Really, really good.
You bet.
Questions, you guys. This is good, man. This is the time.
Let's do this. If you have a question, type it out in the chat. I'm going to do some training to make sure you get the 5 steps, because I think I shared with you, Sean, that I'm one coach of 7 for an organization that we all came together. We're all 6-figure income earners of residual revenue share with eXp. And rather than coaching one-on-one, it would be too pricey for the people wanting our coaching one-on-one. And it's too much trading time for money of just one person. So we said, why don't we come together and do group agent attraction coaching? And it's called Attract Boss, www.attractboss. Right. And basically what it is, you got 7 rock stars of rev share producers in eXp, proven, and that are pouring in all of our information into our membership base, not weekly, not monthly, daily. That's the secret sauce is we meet. I'm actually missing. We do 8 to 10 a.m. Pacific time, Monday through Friday. And we do live agent attraction phone calls on Zoom. So picture, we do it right now, that we've got all of you on, you're all muted. You're either making your own calls or you're listening to the coaches. And let's say Sean's a coach as well. I'm a coach. Sean and I are making calls, dials. And once we get a live prospect on the phone, all the other coaches and everybody else is muted. And we go live on speakerphone and microphone. And you hear both sides of the conversation of the agent attraction process from the beginning, of us booking appointments and so on. And then we teach you all, the 5 steps, and really how do you take a prospect from the initial call all the way up to the sponsorship and strategies and tips and tricks and all that. We brought the cost way down. It's only $197 a month. And you can quit anytime. There's no contract, but we have just unbelievable amount of resources, a whole complete, I think it's 2 pages now of value stack of scripts and links and past recordings. And we do a weekly training every Monday. Like today, it'll be 10:30 to 11:30 for an hour. All the coaches pouring into. So what I'm going to share with you is the 5 steps. So number 1 is you create your list. Number 2 is you have your 30-second story. that is, to me, foundational next to the list. It's super important because you got to be able something to slyly edify yourself to the prospect and build rapport at the same time.
Yeah.
And then number 3 would be your scripting. There are, got to have a few little scripts responses. You will learn that if you decide to join Attract Boss. And by listening to the coaches do it over and over, you're like, oh my gosh, he did it. That's like the 5th time I've heard him. And that must be a script or whatever, but you wouldn't know because it's so natural. It just flows and I'm listening and all that, right? And then the 4th step is we go over CRMs. You need to have a follow-up campaign that is beyond you. So, we have KV Core, everybody, that's duplicatable. Everybody eXp gets that. CRM Grow is another one that we teach and train. And then also Chime, which is now called Lofty. We get that at eXp for $25 a month. So those 3 CRMs we go into and how to create follow-up campaigns and so on. We also go into Facebook, social media, reaching out, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, and how to reach out to realtors and realtor prospects that way as well. And then the 5th step is your presentation. And this is really important. You've done all the work to call them, get up the courage, the call reluctance, you get them on the phone, you book an appointment. And if they're in your town, you should be meeting for coffee or lunch, belly button to belly button. If they're outside your area, I'm saying, 3-hour drive or more, right? 2 hours is in your area. Go meet them if they're a producer. And then meet them on Zoom. So what do? You're like, oh my gosh, I got him showing up on a Zoom. What do I do? The first thing is TMAY. Tell me about yourself. TMAY. Tell me about yourself and shut up. Ask questions and listen, right? Ask questions to learn and get further clarification about who they are and what they're about and so on. Also, be aware of what personality type they are. Are they on the disc? Are they a D? So they're going to say, that's the bottom line, or time is money, or da-da-da-da-da, or let's just cut to the chase. You're dealing with a D. If they're a high I, they're going to be like using their hands and colorful shirts, which I'm actually a high DI, but you're going to get these clues and so on, and you're going to want to come alongside them and relate to them and mirror them, mirroring and matching on the Zoom and their tonality and different things. And they're going to feel like, man, I really like this guy. I really like this Kate. Like, I feel like she's like me, right? She's so smart because I'm smart. I think I'm smart, right? That's what the prospect thinks.
Nod your head, Kate.
Huh? Kate's like,
Kate, you can nod your head.
yeah, she's like, I am smart. How did he know? Right? All right. I'm so smart. So anyway, so mirroring and matching tonality and all this stuff, right? What is it? A high C or S? I'm trying to remember. Which is the more analytical? Is it the S or the C? I always get them confused.
Yeah, I say I do it by colors because I'm the same with you. I'm a blue-red, which is the same thing with you. So mine through colors. Green's the analytical detail.
Yeah, green's analytical. Yeah, so I mean, if they're like wanting graphs and facts and figures, and I got to think about it, and I got to do more research and all this stuff, you're dealing with an analytical. So you're going to want to mirror and match them with one of your success partners who's maybe more on the analytical bent. See, like I know Don Yoakum is analytical. He's strategic. He's brilliant. Most strategic business guy I know. Tom Daves is a high DI. Like he's so disciplined and regimented, and he's incredible, right? Randy is more of an I and probably an S, compliant. Like he doesn't like choppy water. Both him and Tom don't like confrontation. Me, I'm okay with confrontation. Like, show me you got a backbone. I'm a high D. So you start understanding and learning these things, and it's going to make your rapport building that much easier with your prospect. But so you would start out with TMAY, then you would go down into, you would tell a little bit about yourself. You'd say, hey, let me just share real briefly. And again, you're going to use your 30-second story that you've already got queued up. Let me share with you a little briefly about my story, just so you know who you're talking to and so on. But I love everything you shared. Thank you for your transparency. Veronica is awesome. But, and I go into, hey, I come from a real estate family, 49 years brokers, blah, blah, blah. I've been doing this, 28 years, part owner in 3 offices, whatever your story, it's okay. It's enough. Okay. Don't feel like, oh, I haven't done what Matt's done. No wonder he's got 220. Nope. That's not it. It's not the actual words. It's the feeling that they have and the music that they're hearing coming from you. It's the energy and the music, not the words. Okay. So don't beat yourself up if you're like, well, I'm new at real estate. Some of you new at real estate, you go, I can't recruit. I can't talk to an icon producer because I'm new. You absolutely can, right?
Mm-hmm.
So let's say Patricia Ann is a big time baller, right? And I would reach out to Patricia Ann. I'd say, hey, Patricia Ann, you don't know me. I'm Matthew Stewart. I'm a realtor out of the Sacramento area. And I was just doing a little bit of research about, just the heavy hitters, top producers in North Carolina. And you appear to be one of those. I'm curious, how long have you been doing real estate? Right? I'm asking questions. I'm in control of the conversation. She's going to say, oh, I've been doing this 18 years. I go, oh my gosh, that's amazing. I have 33 years. That's amazing. I have some business partners, right? You lean on in your story, your business partners. I have some business partners that have been doing it as long as you. And that's actually why I aligned with them and have been running with them, because I believe that success leaves clues. Would you agree? Oh yeah. And I'm a fervent learner. I always want to learn. Would you say that you're learning based, Patricia Ann? And
absolutely.
She'll go, absolutely. Real estate is changing, right? It's not like it was back 25 years ago when you're doing it. It's very different today, correct? And she's going to go, yeah.
Oh, so absolutely. Ask Sean how he got me. It was like he was out of school for like 2 weeks, y'all. Hadn't sold a house, hadn't thought about selling one. So I just appreciate that God didn't give me someone that had sold as long as me. That wasn't what I needed.
That's awesome. So the key is, if you notice, I ask questions that got yeses. I primed the pump with at least 3 yeses. And now we've got rapport. We're in rapport. Like, she even wanted to tell her story, right? I've got her talking. She's a top producer and I'm brand new. She doesn't ask how many homes I sold. It doesn't matter because I'm asking questions.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm edifying my success partners. Go ahead, Sean.
I was going to say, and you're talking about your business part. Everybody knows I was brand new when I started. Like Patricia said, I was in the first maybe a couple months, reached out to her. But to add to her story, Jean Frederick, when I began to drop names and I dropped Jean, I remember she paused. She's like, Jean Frederick, you're working with, she still thought he was at KW.
The legend.
He had lined up a 3-way call, and that's all it took. When she realized that the Grand Master of KW, one of them, had come over, that was what pulled Patricia. So name dropping, all that, she didn't ask me about my production, all that stuff. So yeah, throw that out the window. You have to be a big producer to attract, because guys, you all know I have not done production. So
there you go. That's such a great story. I didn't know that, Sean. But and I'll give you one other story. There's a gentleman, Vincent St. Louis. He's got 1,300 agents. He's not sold a house in his life. He was written in on one deal just so he could say he sold a house, but he didn't do anything on the deal. Brent wrote him in because they're buddies. Yeah. And so he's been at eXp now 6.5 years, 6 years, something like that. 1,300 agents, making $500,000 plus. Amazing. All he did, no real estate background, no success at all. He called the San Francisco Bay Area. He blocked out in his calendar. He was very disciplined and regimented, which you guys absolutely need to learn time blocking if you're not doing it. And you need to be disciplined and stick to it, especially if you're in full-time production and you're going to do 80% production and 20% rev share. You better make that 20% count. And so he did 2 hours a day, Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. till noon. And he called the San Francisco Bay Area. Not in his area. That's an hour and 45 minutes from Sacramento, where I live. He's also in my market. And he just said, you know what? Their average sales price is 1.5 million or 1.2. They're going to cap out in like 2 deals. So even if they only do 2 deals a year, I'm still going to maximize the compensation plan. And so I'm just going to call 2 hours a day. And that's what he did. And he did it relentlessly, regimented, day after day. He was frustrated. It wasn't growing as fast as he thought it should be. Not uncommon. And next thing you know, he brought somebody who knew somebody who was a broker owner in South Africa. And that broker owner in South Africa had heard about eXp at an NAR convention 2 years prior, and it never left his mind. And it ended up going, well, hey, he was reached out because they were buddies. And the buddy in America reached out. He was like 3rd level or something from Vincent. And long story short, we know we're open in South Africa, which wasn't on the radar of eXp, by the way. But this brokerage had, I think, 400 agents at the time or something like that, multiple offices. And the broker owner said, you know what, I would move the whole brokerage over if eXp would come to South Africa. So all of a sudden, South Africa, not even on the list, got moved up to #1, and they were working to get that open in South Africa. Now we've got over 1,000 agents in South Africa.
That is awesome. So let me do this wrap up. First of all, dude, we are so humbled that you came on. You really have, dude. I've heard some nuggets today I've never heard before, and some of your storytelling and stuff. Yeah, so very grateful. But I want to make sure everybody's aware of this. Not that we're here to attract all these other platforms, but guys, I'm open to looking at all different ones. The attractboss.com. Let me just justify this for a minute, because I'm going to take a close look at that. I'm looking at the other attraction flow, but AttractBoss, where he said they're making calls 2 hours a day, every day. It's $197 a month, guys. It's worth taking a look at. Remember, there's no contract. Think about that. $2,400 a year. You bring on one capping agent, $2,800. You just now a net $400.
Paid for the whole year.
Out there, because some people might have gone, "What? I'm not paying $200." Well, what are you in revenue share for, right? What if you could learn from people who are making calls every day for 2 hours straight? Listen in. So, guys, it's just food for thought. You might take a look at that. Please keep coming every Monday, because people like Matt are coming on here, and you just want to keep grabbing tidbits. I'm going to go back and listen to that first 15, 20 minutes and write down some of what he said. There was some great dialogue. Kate, you agree with me? That was some pretty good dialogue. So let's wrap up, Matt. I know you could jump on your other one. You still got another hour in your other team, right?
Yeah.
So first of all, thank you, everybody, for coming. You know, we do this every week. Don't miss tomorrow morning. I know we got a big one tomorrow. Is create massive value and keep the phone ringing is tomorrow's training for increased production. So, guys, thank you, Matt. I'll grab the recording, brother, send it over to you. We are so grateful and thankful you did this. I can see why you're successful, dude. You're going to have 1,000 agents, I think, in the next 12 to 24 months.
I appreciate you. I appreciate you. I'll share this with you. If you guys do want to do the Attract Boss, name me as your referring coach, and then put in, there's a code, 30 days free. All caps. And you'll get your first 30 days for free. You get access to all the materials and the value stack. I mean, it's a killer. I mean, it's crazy. You should definitely take advantage of that and sign up, okay? You can quit after 30. There's no contract, so you can quit anytime. On the 31st or, 32nd day, whatever the month, you're going to get charged the $197 for the beginning of month 2. So just know that. But I'm very confident that you do the first month, you're not going to leave. Like, there's nothing like it. It's that daily cadence of Monday through Friday of having your crew that are in the hunt together every day. It's pretty awesome. It's an amazing, I'll put it, it's 30 days free is the code. All right. Yeah. 30 days free.
That is awesome. Well, guys, everybody check that out. Definitely, if you're really, really dialed in and here in 24, this could be what could help catapult you. So again, thank you for jumping on. Thank you so much, Matt. I'll get the recording here either today or tomorrow, and I'll shoot it over to you. If I can help you at all, brother, let me know. Okay?
Yeah, you guys are awesome. Thanks for having me.
Thank you, man. Thank you, guys. Have a great week. God bless, brother.
Bye-bye.